welcome to our webinar, Real-Time Experience in Architectural Visualization and Interior Design. My name is Zoltan Toth. Over here is, as always, our resident architect, Mr. Illesh Papp.
Hello, everyone.
And today's topic is all about visualization, especially ARCHLine.XP Live. But can you tell us more about what Live actually is?
Live is an office software for architects and interior designers. Today you're going to see a few examples of buildings and interiors. So we try to show you how many different projects you can create with Live, how many of them you can fill up with Live. You're going to see how these are turned into rendered images literally instantaneously without rendering time, and also we will show you how you can create animations in 30 minutes no matter the complexity of your model. And today what you're going to see on screen are features that we never shown before, so I'm pretty sure you will see something interesting and exciting.
That's right. So we have a short video to summarize what Live can do. Let's watch that and then let's jump into action. So I guess the question is, how do we get from the model itself all the way to the rendered images and videos that you showed us?
Yes, it's a good question and a very simple to answer, because whatever you have a model now, we are going to first show you how you can pass over a model from SketchUp, and then we will also show you how you can do the same thing with the ARCHLine.XP BIM design software. So we actually have the same model in both of the software, and what you're gonna have is a nice and detailed model. This is a model from one of our users, which we are very thankful for. And then this is something that we prepared with all the materials. We also have views, and also as you can see, it's a nice and detailed 3D model, which I can rotate around, and it's actually part of a larger residential area with all the details of the roofs and tilings and everything else. So that this is something that we either model in SketchUp or in ARCHLine that you will see pretty soon. And then whenever you would like to pass it over to Live, which is a separately installed software on your computer, then you just push this button, and then the software will visualize it automatically in Live. So now let's see how this same thing works in ARCHLine.
That's right. All right, so here we have the same model in ARCHLine.
Yes.
Where do we get from here?
Just to introduce the model quickly, because here we have a little bit more detail. I mean, this is the same exact model, but what I'm going to highlight is the materials and all sorts of things that we would like to also communicate to the visuals. Now, first, if I already mentioned the lights, we actually have a few street lamps which are having artificial light sources, and also I can turn on the shadow simulation, so we can see that this building is based on a real geolocation, so it is oriented to the true north, and it also introduces the sunlight if I turn that on, and this is also an information that we're gonna pass to the visuals in the end. Talking about the 3D space itself, we actually have previously saved views that I have here in a view list, and this is something that we will also pass over to live. And also about the materials. Now, we already dressed up the building with the proper materials, but there is a note here about the render styles that I'm going to show you. And actually, in the software, we already equipped the surfaces with proper material properties like metals, glass surfaces, ceiling, and so on. So these are things like just click and drag, and you can change the style of the material. So this is how we created this building. This is how we model this area, and this is what I'm gonna pass to live by using the view rendering and ARCHLine.XP live. It's a very simple procedure. The software will highlight that it might take a while because of the complexity of the model, but once I start it, the software will generate this model. It will pass it over to live, and live will start reading this model. Depending on the model complexity, it can take a few minutes, perhaps, or just a few seconds. It really depends, but in the end we will see the result and we can start working with that.
I understand we have a couple of shots and videos about the final stage.
Yeah, okay, so let's see that before we go on.
Okay, so let's see, how do we get there from where we are now? Let's share the screen.
Yeah, so now we have received the model from ARCHLine, from the design software, and this is what we get with automatic lighting, background, and nice materials and everything else. So this is what we will use to dress up, to fill up with life. Also, we have all the views that I mentioned before. So at the bottom, you can see all the previously saved views in ARCHLine. So this is what we can already check, as they are actually existing images on your computer. So when you can open it, you can already send it to your clients. But we are only a few minutes from literally more dressed up version, so we will do that before we send over to the client.
What do you mean dressing up? What would you start working with?
Well, let's just start with the surrounding a little bit, because we have a beautiful sky, but we don't have the surrounding area, and we actually have in the navigator, in the built-in libraries of the software, we have backgrounds. So I'm actually just clicking and drag and dropping a background into that, and this is actually like a panoramic background. This is an area which we will fill up later, and this panoramic background is something that actually we can rotate if you want. We can move, rotate, scale items in live, and if I would like to, I can just turn it over to have a better view that I wanted to have here on this visual. And also to better match the background with the grass, we have built-in materials also in the software. So I'm going to use the environment materials, and I just quickly click and drag this ground grass material to here and there. And if you would like to save my time, I can also turn on this all instances mode, and then I can do that in one single step. So this is what I could do with the surrounding to quickly fill up with this sort of materials.
All right, most materials we see here came from the model itself. How can you adjust them? How can you edit them?
Well, those materials that came with the model that are not part of the library are also, just as you highlighted, customizable. So let me just go back to one of our views that we had before, and let me just start with this one. So if I'm selecting it, I cannot only handle it as an object, but I can go also to edit the materials. So I have all the material properties here that I can change. I can change the reflectivity, the brightness of this surface if I would like to. And I can also check that this actually is a wall, which I actually defined. Also, there are gloss surfaces. There are sometimes general materials that are like Jolly Joker materials that I can turn into anything if I want, and I can also make them darker, brighter. And if I choose another angle, I can show you that you can also change its reflectivity, because now it's quite matte, but I would like to give it a little touch of like, like a polished surface or something like that. And for that, I'm going to go to the reflection. I'm changing that so we can see a little bit of the sky in it, but I think it's too perfect, so I will just change the roughness like this. So in certain angles, I will have that nice touch of the sky in this material that I wanted, and then, well, I can just go on and change all the rest of the materials if I would like to.
All right, so let's talk about the surrounding a bit more. How can you sort of dress up the model?
Well, as you mentioned, the surrounding is partially finished because we have a nice background, grassed surfaces and so on. But we also can place, if you use the navigator objects, there is a library for example, little plants and trees and everything else. So if you would like to, and it's a very good and easy thing to do, then you can just place down trees and bushes and everything else like that. Also, you can just look around and find trees based on their sizes, because as you can see, there's a tiny thumbnail with a little human shape next to it, so you can guess what the size of this tree or the other one will be. So it's
could you position them one by one, so you don't, I mean, in a series you don't have to click one by one.
You can, if you just enable this option and then you just click somewhere, you can place them. But even with this tool, by clicking, it would take a very long time to kind of paint the area with trees. So actually we have a painter for that, which is the foliage painter. Let me just go and find another view, because I just wanted to go. Well, let's just see, I think, for example, from here, and then I will just turn this around, because there is a nice grove here that I would like to paint with trees. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the foliage painter, and the foliage painter has, we call them trays, where you can actually assemble several types of items. You can even create your own brushes. You can name them, and or if you would like to, then you can just go and select something that you would like to use, and then just, there's this little painter, and you just drag the mouse and then you just paint that area, and then now you have a nice amount of trees appearing over there. So with this one, which actually you can also customize, so you can add another type of tree here, and then you can just paint the area using that quite easily.
Perfect.
So this is how you go, and then, well, with these tools you can paint the area quite easily, but let's just jump to a version where I already did that.
So now we have loaded up the following stage of this project, when most of these things were done, what Illesh has showed us with rinse and repeat. We did some more things, and now how do we go on enriching what we see here?
Well, I would like to show you two things. One is that I already talked about the sunlight effects. So I would like to show you one another thing, is that actually you can change the amount of clouds in the background by simply using this slider. You can create a clear sky or a quite cloudy one. You can even change or increase the humidity in the surrounding. You can just turn it into a very like foggy background, so you can change the mood of this visual quite easily. And also there is this option to change between the several weather effects, from the sunny weather to rainy weather, and then also you can change the amount of rain on the surfaces, and also this will change how many droplets you will see on screen appearing. And also you can change this to, for example, snowy, and then the software will change this, and as you can see, the surfaces are a little bit snowy, and soon the snow itself will start falling down. And you can also change or increase the the amount of snow on the surfaces quite easily. So this is also something that you can easily do. If you would like to reset any of those, you can just click here and set back to sunny weather, change the fog type, change the clouds back. So this is how you can reset if you want. And there's another thing which I wanted to mention, and it's sometimes when we have several views, just as we have now, some of those views under certain light conditions, they are not the most easy to see because now they are in quite a large shadow. So you can easily change the sun settings based on which view you are in. So when I change the sun setting here, and if I don't push the update button to update all the views, then only this view will be updated with the sun setting. So if I'm going back to the previous view and I update this first, so I'm just saying that, okay, update this with the latest settings. Then when I go back to the first view, as you can see already the sun jumped to the other side, so it's the most spectacular from this view. But if I go back to the other one, then again I have a different light condition. So this is how easily you can change that. And even on top of that, you can also create a sun animation by just increasing the speed, for example, to, I don't know, let's say it's 3 times the normal speed, and then as you can see the shadows are moving as the sun is going around. So it's an easy thing to do.
Is the weather also view dependent, or is that a general switch?
Yeah, it can be used as a general setting, but also you can, if you would like to, you can create snapshots of different views under certain weather conditions.
Okay, so let's move on, making the visual a bit even more interesting. Alright, so now we have a new project loaded up. Why did you load this up?
Yes, because I also wanted to show you something. Well, we already talked about a lot of the materials, how you can customize them, but I would like to show you one interesting and I think quite useful trick that you can do with the materials. So we actually have this bust up here with all these advertisements on the surfaces, and if I would like to, I can spice it up by just simply selecting this material, coming to the material settings, and I can actually simply just say that, okay, so this is going vertically with this speed, and then now it's just like this kind of rolling advertisements. If you use a negative value, this is also something that you can do, then you can change the direction, so it's either up or down. And as you can see, you can also animate horizontally. You can use it for, I don't know, like walking escalators or something like that as well. So talking about materials, there's one another thing on top of this, and for that I'm actually going to create a new material. I'll just go here and I will create a new one by clicking here in the create new item, and there is an option that you can actually create video-based materials, which is a very interesting thing. I have a promo video here as an advertisement. If I open that up and I hit OK, I can also name it, let's just name it to like advertisement or something like that, and then I hit OK. So now I have a material called advertisement that I can click and drag here onto the surface, and as you can see, it also has
yes, it has music.
It has music. So it also features music, which of course you can turn it off if you don't want to have. But also if you go to the material properties, let me just select this material again. So you can actually control how that works. You can loop you can change the volume of it. You can change the radius, the effective radius. That means if I'm going a little bit far, then you can hear that it's not that much audible now. But if I'm zooming in, then you can hear it. Yeah, you can hear it much better. But of course, if you can also mute it. So this way, quite easily, you can spice up any part of your models. And talking about animations or something like that, I would like to also show you in another part of this model how you can animate objects.
All right. So what do we do here?
Well, we have a few items to animate. As you can see in the background, we already have this carriage door animated. And I'm going to show you how you can do something like that using one of these barriers here. So I'm just selecting this, and well, first I need to find the starting position from where it will be elevated, because I just would like this to be withdrawn to the surface of the road and then back. Yep. And then for that I can either use these translators, or I can just type a value, the vertical value, like this will fall to 4,000 millimeters, so that's inside the ground. As you can see, that only the top of this item is visible. So then I can also select what sort of animation I would like to add, and this time I will select the path, the vertical animation. And when I click and add the new path, see I can vertically set up the ending position where it will end. Now I need to find the bottom position of this item. It will be on the door.
Oh, I see. So that would be.
It will be on the road surface, and then I can define many other points, but now 2 points is enough. So I'm just selecting enter, and then now as you can see, it's moving automatically. It is aligned to the path, but I don't need that. I just disable this option, and then I can also change how it behaves. Now I can just change it to ping pong or a kind of oscillation like this, and I can also change this to be played only once with the continuous play, and also I can change this to
down,
I don't know, like a slower speed. And then, I think it's quite okay, but I can even further slow it down. Yeah. So this is how it works. And if I just animate the car coming through this area, then I can just time it accordingly that it's just going down and the car passes here and then enters the garage. So I think that's the time when we should go back to our original project and show you how you can animate humans and cars.
Let's see a few examples. What do we see here?
So this is the previous project, and then here, just as I mentioned, let's talk about the cars and human figures. So in the libraries, you can also find several different cars in different colors. So if you would like to populate the parking lot, it's a very easy and simple thing to do. You just click and drag those objects. You can rotate them, position them wherever you wish, like with this one. And let me just show you a cool thing. If you just click and drag this point, and you can actually snap this to surfaces. So if you see the elevation in these two areas are a bit different. So if you move it here, it's always snapped to the ground.
Yes.
If you use this little part over there. So let me just rotate it. Let me just place another car here, like a black one, and so on. So this is how I do. And then let me just place another car here, because I also want to show you how you can actually animate a car. So if that car starts over there and moves towards me, just as with that little pole that I animated before, I can set up the starting and the ending position of this car on this road by simply adding a path animation. Using the path animation, you can design this path, and you can just place those those are what we call path points or key points that are for the animation. So this describes the path where this car passes by, and if you hit enter, the car is actually already aligned on this path, and it's slowly approaching us. It's really slow now, so let me just change its speed to 15 kilometers per hour, and then now it's coming towards me, and then I can just change how it either it oscillates here, or it's moving actually backwards, and so on. So now I like this loop, so I will keep that, and then I start working with the human figures. Okay, so let's just zoom into this area, and then here we have a place to populate it with humans. We also have a library with human shapes. Those are actually 3D people. So if I would like to place like Fabian with her kid over here, she's already there standing and perhaps talking to Carla, who is a person standing here. And then, if I just select her, I can rotate her. See, actually she's already moving a tiny bit. She's already breathing. It's a living person over there. So if I select that person, I can go here and I can change this person's default animation, how it is animated. I can say that she's actually talking to these two people here, or she's just listening to a conversation, and so on. And there are several others like also walking. So for that, I also place another person. Should that be, for example, let's say it's Manuel. He's starting from here, and he is facing that direction. And then I can also add a path animation. So it's not enough just saying that he's actually like walking or something like that, because even if it's walking like this or in a peaceful mood, it's only in place, and that's not what I want. I also need to add the path. So I'm just actually stopping him and adding a new path by clicking on this walkway here. And also, if I would like to, I can change this. I can refine it if I want it. And then, well, let's just stop it over there. I can also make him go inside the building, but let's just say that it's okay. And then here, let me just add another point. Well, that's fine. I'm just moving this a little bit to the left, so I'm just smoothing it, this path out. And then I'm telling him that, okay, this should be something that we should walk along. And then here...
He's moonwalking now.
Yeah. So you can actually just change the direction like this. And then he's moving.
Is he always
correctly.
going to face the direction in which he's going?
Yes, normally yes, but as you can see,
I see.
you can just rotate it, and you can change the way he walks, and also you can apply the speed. But the speed and the walk animation and everything else is by default. Okay, so you don't need to do anything with that.
All right. So what's the next thing on our agenda? Are we moving towards exports, making videos, or?
Yes, let's see how we can create actual animations.
Okay, so we saw how to animate people and objects, but how do you actually animate the camera? Maybe you want to make like a panning shot. How do you do that?
Yeah. Well, I actually have a view like that. So first I will show you how that looks like, and then I will show you how you can animate the camera. So actually you can find this animation here, and then this is the one that I have already created. So if I click here and I play it, then as you can see, I already have a camera moving through 3 keyframes. Which I'm going to show you how you can define, and through these 3 keyframes the camera is moving along, the people are talking, panning around, and also running, jogging here. I can just scrub wherever I want in this playlist, and I also can generate a video file out of that. So this is how it looks like when it's done. But if I would like to create a new one, I'm going back to the animation definition, and the animation definition starts with the first frame where you are actually. So you can set up that, for example, you would like to start from for example, from here. You add the new animation with the first frame, and then with this one you can add the following frame, but the following frame will be in the following position. So for example, I just would like to create an animation like it's just like zooming into the building or moving towards the building. In that case, I'm here adding the new keyframe, setting up the proper speed, because now it's only 1 second long and it will be quite fast. So let's say it's I don't know, like 6 seconds. And then see how it works. So I'm starting from here, going through here. Okay, that's cool. Let's start it. And then I have another shot like this. So this easy thing called keyframes is that what you can define when you set up the first and the second and the following positions of the camera. Then this creates a path, and then you can also create the final animation. And a cool thing is that whatever you create is automatically organized on a tray next to each other. So
just
now
like
I actually have 2 animations following each other. So I will have this one. Let me just go with the one that I created first. So this will be the first animation. I'm starting that. So I'm going from here. And then once I reach the end point, it will start going back to that, and it will do the following animation. So this way you can also even stitch together animations and then save them into a video file. So this is how it goes. Before we go on and pass on to the final version of this model, I also wanted to show you another detail for which we are going to use an interior scene as well.
Let's take a look. Okay, so we have a nice interior design project loaded up.
Yeah.
Why did you open up this one?
Well, I want to show you something that happens quite easily during the design process when the design changes, when the original model changes, and you would like to synchronize those changes to a design that you already kind of like nicely dressed up and made all the work into that, how you can synchronize those changes into this design.
All right.
So here in this model, which was originally designed in ARCHLine, the design software, we have quite a few details already created, and I would like to focus on this part of this model here, because here in the original design, we will make a few changes. So let me just switch back to ARCHLine, and here I'm gonna change how this layout looks like. So this is how we changed it. There are 2 sanitary ware, and the layout is quite kind of different. And if I would like to synchronize these to the model opened in live, then I can go here, and instead of creating a brand new visual, I'm just syncing those changes. So I'm clicking on this one, and we will see the changes appearing on the other side.
All right, so you just synchronize the changes.
Yeah. So as you can see, everything was kept, what I already created, all the background and all the material changes and everything else. But the new items are synchronized like that. I can also further start working with this project and make other changes if I would like to.
We haven't talked about the lights, the artificial ones, I mean.
Yeah, and talking about lights, I also want to show you an object which is kind of a special object because here on the right hand side we have, talking about lights, we have this candle here. And this candle is something that we can dress up with something that we call effects that we can find in the objects, effects. And here if you click on this candle fire, then you can just click and drag it onto the end of this candle here, and then it starts glowing up the space, and then, well, it's a nice touch, a warm touch to this spot. And yes, going back to the actual practical lights, let me just go to this area and see what we can do with those. As you can see, we have all these artificial light sources. If I go back to the edit lamp mode, as you can see, I can change the intensity, lumens, and so on. But I also would like to, I forgot to add light sources in ARCHLine. So I can also add lights here. If I go back to the lighting library, and I can just add this small shape here, small sphere here, and also here. And talking about these, I can also change the temperature. So those are kind of like these modern LED, bulbs. So I just would like to change the temperature to something nice, warm like this. And also I just would like to do the same thing here. This should be also something, and like a nice warm. And also I can change the intensity. I can turn it on and off. And if I like this result, then this is how it will actually look like.
What about the mirrors?
Yeah, all those mirrors are equipped with reflective material. I can also go and find something like a chrome if I would like to. Let me just quickly show you that before. And it's somewhere in the metal library. So let's just use kind of like a perfect chrome or something like this. So I'm just adding it here and here. And then, well, if I would like to see a perfect reflection of anything that happens behind me, there's a bathrobe and everything else, then I have a nice option here, which is, again, called effects. If I go, now I'm in the material, so material effects. If I'm going and using this mirror reflection, this one, and I click here and I add it to this surface, and as you can see, it already creates this realistic effect. If I move the camera around, we can actually see that those are true reflections. Now, the reason it's not by default like that, because it consumes a little bit the computer. So if we would use too many real reflections, it would it would slow down the whole mechanism. But as you can see, the bathrobe behind us actually appears at the proper position. Now this is something what we can see here. This is the reflection plane. This reflection plane can be used on large portals, like just as we had this office building before with the glass surface. We can just apply that on the surface, and also you can change the quality. If I would like to have a perfect mirror like this, decreasing the roughness, as you can see, the edges are now much clear reflections of this background. Or if I would like to, I can just change the quality. I can just drop down the quality, change the roughness, and it will be like much more like a blurry surface. So this is how you can actually effectively create realistic and true reflections of surfaces.
So we are getting close to the topic when we are actually making final renders and videos. And for that, we have to keep on talking about effects, namely camera effects. So I understand you have a few tricks with which you can make the site even more spectacular.
Yes, so let's just switch back to the building that we started with.
All right, so we loaded up the final stage of this model in order to talk about a little bit of camera effects. So what are they? What will you use them for?
Yes, the camera effects are something that you can set up camera by camera, just as the sunlight effects. And those are something that you can find here. The camera properties, you can change the field of view, how you actually zoom into the model or not. You can change the exposure of the model. If it's a little bit too dark, you can brighten it up a little bit. And also there's the brightness and contrast that you can use in any other image manipulator, also on the static images. You can change the saturation, you can desaturate the image, you can add a little bit more of the saturation if you would like to highlight the colors. Also, you can apply depth of field, which is quite useful if you use the autofocus. Then everything that appears closer, like there is a car passing by, it will be blurred or something like that. And also you can turn on the global illumination, which boosts the lighting quite in a natural way. So all the surfaces like here before, if I just turn it off, see it's like a more like binary, but if I turn it on, then it takes that natural bouncing light from the surrounding, and it really boosts the final visual. Also, you can change the lens flare, bloom, vignetting, like this one, for example, around the edges of the image. And also you can add a tiny bit of this chromatic aberration, which is very difficult to see, but around the edges, it's just kind of smoothing the edges in a kind of natural way, as you used to see in case of watching films and final photographs also. So this is how you can boost those. You can play with these. You can also create several different versions of the same view with different camera effects if you would like to. And then in the end, using these settings, you can also create the final images and the final animation. So talking about that, let's just see what we have created based on these.
So now that we have showed you what life has to offer, we have compiled all the final results, the renderings and animations of the 3 projects we looked at today, and let's see how they look like.
So as you can see here, this is the one that we saw earlier. This is the final version of the animation. We stitched together the animation paths. One is passing by on the street. We have another one looking to the other direction.
So can you just summarize for us what are the key points of Live? Why should somebody use Live for projects like these?
Well, I think it's best if I talk about what users give us as a feedback. That obviously mostly that they like is that it's real time, so you don't have to wait a moment for a render because it's instantaneous. Also, the same applies for the videos, because just as you saw, it really literally takes 20 or 30 minutes to create a full animation, even with several sequences. So it's a very, very fast thing to do. So I think we could say one thing is how fast that is. Also how spectacular it is, as you can see on screen. Those little effects like the candle lights are also very, very nice, and also the water and the moving people.
How many projects do you think somebody has to make until they get the same results that the one we see on the screen?
A good question. Actually, a good thing, it's also a feedback from many of our users that already the first approach, when you start learning the project on your first project, you will create something that is already good for your client. So there is the learning curve is very, very short. I must say that.
How open is the program to other platforms?
It's open, also works for SketchUp, just as we mentioned, and you can also synchronize the content, the changes from SketchUp, and also, of course, in ARCHLine, just as we demonstrated.
What is your favorite feature of Live?
Well, I like the movement of people, and just as we introduced this video texture is, I think it's kind of cool, and the true reflections, those are very, very good things.
Mine is the fog thing.
Yeah,
weather.
it is.
Okay, you mentioned learning. If somebody wants to learn, what is the first place to look for tutorials?
Yeah, you definitely should go to our website, because we have previous webinars, tutorials. We have an online help with short videos introducing the features of the software. We are continuously releasing new ones. We will hold new webinars in the future, so if you did not do that yet, please subscribe to our channel, and then you will be able to see any of those new videos that we are going to create for you. So well, definitely you should start at our webpage. And if you have any questions that we did not talk about before, then please just send us an email, and then we are more than happy to help you in any of your design questions.
All right, and that concludes our session about how to use what ARCHLine.XP Live has to offer. Like Illesh said, sorry, if you are interested in what Live can do for you, then you can download the test version, and you can give it a test drive. You can find the system specifics on the website as well. For now, I would like to thank you for your attention. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so as not to miss another interesting and exciting and spectacular show. Even more so because we are doing this very regularly with the involvement of our partners. So if you happen to speak another language apart from English, then you can surely find the thing that you're looking for. Again, thank you for spending this time with us. See you next time.
Thank you for being with us. Goodbye.